Howdy, y'all. All right. So comment below neighborhood builder area you want me to review. And if you're coming back to this video later after it's already been uploaded and you weren't able to catch the live stream, just leave a comment down below and I will get to that question in the next live stream, or maybe even do a video if you leave a question about a new construction neighborhood. Sometimes I do that. Okay, let me put this comment in the chat. Pin message. Okay, hopefully everyone's Wednesday is going good. I know there's no one in here yet, kind of just talking to myself, but hopefully we have a good live stream today and some people join and ask some questions. We'll start the live stream off with some comments that were left on the channel. I think I only really had one that was shout out. Okay, someone left me a comment about Ashton Woods in Princeton. So I guess we'll start there because they left a comment on the last one. And then if anyone else has any questions. All right, let's go in here. Let's do live chat. Okay. All right, just making sure I have all my chats set up before I get into this. Okay, so the question I had was on this neighborhood here. Just show you guys this. So this is Monticello Sayo. Guys, if you've been watching my videos long enough, you know I cannot pronounce things. All right. Monticello. Looks like they're sitting on a good amount of inventory, but that's usually what Ashton Woods does. Like usually when I go through the Ashton Woods neighborhoods, like they're usually sitting on like a little bit more quick move-in homes than some other builders, but it all depends on the area, of course. Let's just go to the Google Maps. Let's just talk about Princeton in general, and then we'll kind of get more zoomed in. Okay. So let's pull this up on the map. Let's just see where this is located for people so they get a general idea. So zooming out here, right? So we're on the northeast side of Dallas, probably about an hour drive into downtown Dallas from that point. Now, if you're living in like the Allen or working in the Allen, Frisco, Fairview, McKinney, Prosper, Melissa area, like I think this area is fine to live in. Also fairly close to Lake Lavon or Lavon Lake. So if you do enjoy the lake or doing things like that, that's going to be available. Now, Lavon Lake, like I have some people come in and ask me like what are the most popular lakes around the Dallas area. I would say Lake Louisville is probably like #1 most popular, but I'd also put Ray Hubbard up there. Lavon Lake is a little bit more low-key. Same way with Grapevine Lake over here south of Flower Mound. Grapevine Lake is very, very small. There's only like a few marinas there, but I would say Lake Louisville is probably known more for its kind of party scene and fun kind of atmosphere with it. Lavon Lake's still a really pretty lake over there, but I don't notice as many things. Like Lake Louisville, a whole bunch of stuff goes on over there, and Lake Ray Hubbard, same way. My favorite lake is Lake Texoma. So just giving you some info there about what I like. But here we go. So the neighborhood he was talking about, or at least this question came in on, was over in Princeton. So in this general area, I think it's fine. Now, I do have families that look at Princeton, Texas, and the one thing with Princeton, okay, and it's the same thing I kind of tell families that are looking over in Aubrey. It's just like right now and probably over the next, I want to say 5 years probably, until they expand everything out around 380 and get the whole bypass thing figured out. It's just very frustrating to drive. And it's 5 o'clock right now, so I bet we could do, let's do directions. Let's do downtown. So this would be the drive from downtown Dallas back to this area. I'm not really thinking that a lot of people are doing this, but this is my point here. So I said an hour. Yeah, usually at this time, it's about an hour and 30 minutes. Okay, now let's see. Let me just, I'm gonna look this up right now. Mantle. Okay, so here's, okay, so that was an hour 19 that showed, right? Okay, so this is an hour 16. Here's just a quick point I want to make, all right? And I just want people to think about this because I have some people come in and they look at Princeton or they look at some of these areas that are along 380 that are a little bit more south, and then they don't even go and look at these areas that are a little bit further north because they just in their head are thinking like, okay, that's a little bit too far. The commute's going to be longer. I'm not even going to go look at that, right? So here's the thing. When you look up Mantua Point, way up here in Van Alstyne, it's actually a quicker drive to get to downtown Dallas than that of if we did this neighborhood over in Princeton. Oh, I'm spelling it wrong. So that was an hour 19, and this one is showing an hour 30, an hour 21. So these are kind of the things to think about, right? Like I have families that they will be priced out of McKinney. They'll be priced out of these areas and then they'll float to the right. And they'll just go a little bit east and they'll go to Princeton. But I always tell them like, hey, right now with Princeton, the main problem here is this area and downtown, from like downtown McKinney getting into Princeton. This is a total mess, and it's going to be a mess for I would say probably for the next 5 years is going to be my guess there. Hopefully it's sooner. Hopefully it doesn't take any longer. But people will just float over to Princeton because they'll think, okay, it's close to McKinney. That commute time should be the same, but it is not. Okay, this is a very frustrating thing that's going on in this area. So I just want people to kind of keep that in mind. And it's even so bad that you don't even take, like the GPS is not even saying you should take 75 highway down. It's saying Interstate 30, and then you're going to just be taking a bunch of back roads to get home, which is actually a little bit quicker than 75 highway. Now, is it nice to live off 75 highway because it's a freeway and all those kinds of things? Yes, of course, it's great. But that's kind of the one thing with this area right now in the development. So I always tell people, I'm like, if you're looking at Princeton, Texas, don't cross off Anna or Van Alstyne off your list, or even Weston being off 75 highway. Now, right, if you're living over if you're going to pick something over in the middle of these areas, right, that's going to be a longer commute time, but there's plenty of neighborhoods that are right up along this 75 highway. I mean, one of my favorite neighborhoods right now that I think has some value to it is Mantua Point, depending on the lot size that you go with and the builder in there. And I know we're not talking about Mantua Point, but that is a community that I think is going to hold a lot of value later on into the future that is at a reasonable price point for people and within a good school district, so, or at least a highly rated school district. Okay, so we got one question here. Awesome. So can you please review, let's see, the Marley floor plan by Drees Customs in Sunnyvale? Yes. All right, so we'll do Sunnyvale. Here's the one thing, okay, that I've heard, and I don't do a lot of, okay, so I'm trying to figure out how I want to word this. So my videos are somewhat based on, one, where I think future growth is going to be the best, okay? Two is also kind of like the comments that come in and people like asking questions about certain things and researching things, okay? I have noticed that, and I think I said this on my previous live stream, or I said this in one of my previous videos, that I have had people say that they've moved out to that Rockwall area, Sunnyvale, and those areas around there. And let me pull this up on the map just so people can be familiar with what I'm talking about. Oh, not Sunnyvale, California. I figured I'm stupid. I figured the thing would just know, like, is that how you spell it? Is that how you spell Sunnyvale? Yeah. Drees Customs. Would this be in Kaufman County? Sunnyvale. Drees Customs. Let's just do this. Okay. Zooming back into Dallas. All right, so this is only a 32-minute drive from Frisco, so I think that's really reasonable. Or Frisco, what am I saying? Dallas. I have Frisco in my head because we were just up north. Is this the neighborhood that you're wanting to talk about? Hopefully that's what you're talking about. But this is a 30-minute drive. He wants a floor plan. What is this? Let's see. The Marley floor plan. All right, let's look this up. Okay. Oh, let's do Dre's Customs. Okay. The Marley floor plan. Hopefully that's what you want. Looks like we got like 4 people watching right now. Guys, if you leave any comments, questions, just put them in the chat. I will be answering them as they come in. Okay, let's look at this floor plan. Sure, we'll accept all the cookies. Yes, track all my stuff. Okay, let me see. Closet. So this is is this a 1-story? This is a 1-story, 4-bed, 4-bath, 1.5 bath, 3-car garage. Okay, 3-car garage is nice. See, I like when it comes to these floor plans that are on like bigger lots, which I can already tell that this is probably on like a 70-foot, 60, at least a 65-foot lot, just the way this is kind of spaced out. I really like it. If you're gonna do a 3-car garage, I do like it where the one of the garages is like hidden behind. Now it's gonna have like those fake windows in the front, but I do like that better than having the houses where there's like half your house just looks like a huge garage. So I do like those elevations a little bit better where they kind of hide one of the garages behind brick, if that makes sense. So like this front of this one would have windows, or excuse me, I guess that's where you could do the 3-car. Or is there saying a 3-car could fit in here? This is optional 4-car. Oh, I guess that's not how that was. Okay, take that, what I just said, out of the picture. Just erase that from your memory. But I do want to say there are some other, like Star Trail is one of those neighborhoods in Prosper where they have a little bit more restrictions and coding on like what the developer wants to be built in there and the curb appeal of those homes. Like if you go in Star Trail, that neighborhood over in Prosper, Texas, with like Highland Homes, American Legend, you will not find one home that has like a 3-car garage from the front when you just look at it from the curb. If it is a 3-car garage, one of those garages will be hidden behind like brick wall, which is like where this bedroom 3 would be like another garage along there. But how this floor plan is a little bit different. Let me just look through here real quick. Yeah, I mean, this floor plan's money. I think this is a great floor plan. I think the one thing that maybe people will knock about this floor plan is that the utility room is not really close to the primary suite, which I love how Dre's Customs is calling this a family ready room. They don't want to call it like they're too custom to call it a utility room, so they're going to call it a family ready room. Media room. I also like when the media rooms and the game rooms are like separate from the primary suite. Sometimes these floor plans will put like the primary suite and then on the other side of the wall will be the media room, which doesn't make a lot of sense to me, especially if you have kids and your kids like to like game and make noise and have friends over. It's going to be right up along your primary suite, which I guess that's more geared towards families. I know that some people that I work with don't even have kids right now, so that doesn't really matter to them, but just kind of I have had families look at some other homes like that, and with the media room on the backside, they're like, "Nah, I don't want to buy that because it'll be a little bit loud along the primary suite." But this one has it on the opposite side. This bedroom 2 is a secondary suite. This bedroom 3 is a secondary suite. Is there anything? Yeah, you got a powder room on the outside. Pantry looks a little small, but it has a working pantry, which is, I guess, more like a butler's pantry that they're calling. Kitchen's in the middle, good symmetry towards the family room, dining over to the side. I love how the patio is in between the primary suite and the dining room. Creates like a little nook in there to be a little bit more private. The closet space looks good, and I love how they have separate vanity. This is a great floor plan. Yeah, I don't see anything like this. Hopefully some of you guys have watched my videos enough that you kind of know what I kind of look for in a floor plan, and then also I just kind of go off what the trends are and what, you know, when I'm working with buyers and they're going around and looking at pre-owned homes, kind of what they're talking to me about and what they're kind of wanting. And some things like these patios that are a little bit more tucked in and hidden, Those are pretty nice, especially how they're building these neighborhoods where the front of the home, or excuse me, the neighbor on the back side, there's no alleyway. It's usually they're stacking these homes very, very close to each other. It's very rare to now come across homes in neighborhoods where there's alleyways. If they do have alleyways, it's probably because it's like a 40-foot lot where they're having like the homes back up to each other, or with an alleyway, but they back up to each other. There's an alleyway that splits in between them. Usually right now, the master plan communities I'm coming across that have the alleys on the back side of the homes are the ones with 40-foot lots. And that's just because I think 40-foot lots look a lot better visually from the curb when the garage isn't on the front of the home, but some of these other master plan communities just don't do it that way, and they put the garage, on the front of the house, and then, makes it look a little funky. Okay, what is King's Place FM 423 and Dallas Parkway? Is that what you said? FM 4? Sorry, there's like a heart. This is so frustrating. The YouTube puts like this big heart emoji over some of the words, so I can see that Catherine left FM4, but then I can't see what I'm guessing you said 423 in Dallas Park. 423 in Dallas, that wouldn't make sense because that's over in Frisco. For what? I don't know that other 428. Okay, there we go. Shout out to Catherine. Thank you. Okay, sorry. There's a heart emoji over the 428, and I couldn't see it. So, okay, King's Place. What is King's Place? That is FM 428 and Dallas Parkway in Salina. Okay, is this a new neighborhood that you're looking at? New construction, or is this a pre-owned neighborhood? I feel like this name sounds familiar. Let me just go here. Let's just see if it's on Google Maps yet. Okay, there's a gnat flying around me right now, and I'm trying to stay focused for you guys, but just know there is a gnat right now flying around my face, and I'm trying to stay very focused. Okay, we got Kings Court. Okay, so you said 428 in Dallas Park, but let's just look up that. Oh, why is that not working? Come on now. Is this one of the neighborhoods right in here? Okay, so is this something, last time, part of it has Rex Glenning's sign. Okay, let's just go to Google and see. Is this a very new place? I don't even think this has popped up on my radar yet. See, I love working with you guys on YouTube and talking with y'all because some of y'all are driving around these areas or seeing some things, and y'all are already like sending me messages, which just helps me like make content. Like, I don't know, I like to make I see a lot of other real estate agents, and like they're doing the model homes and like all those cool things, but I think like how I want to gear my channel is like more towards like putting content out there where it's like brand new communities you don't even know they're really existing. They're not really being marketed well, and trying to get like ahead and show people like what's really coming soon, like way out in the future. So I love when people leave comments like this, like Catherine. I haven't even really known. I mean, I'm up this way. I just closed on a house today, actually, up in Prosper, so I was over in that area. I wasn't that far north, but I do have a few other families up that far north. I haven't noticed that sign. They're moving pretty good on that hospital. Okay, I live in Cook County. I drive this all the time. Nice. Okay, so hold on. So are you saying it's over in this part of, like, is it in this land? Let me look on my MLS. I don't know what King Place is. Let's look up King Place, Salina, Texas. Oh, here we go. Here we go. We're finding something. So, oh, it's land for sale right now. Okay, so it's right up along. We zoom in on here. Okay, that's just showing Salina, but it's over in that section. Let me pull up. Hold on, I'm gonna jump on another tab, and I'm gonna pull up my MLS because I'm just interested to see who owns this land kind of around this intersection at Salina Road in 428, which is where the Dallas North Tollway is getting built through. Okay, let's do this. City, Salina, Texas. All right, one more second. Pulling up my MLS. I just want to see who owns this land around here. Okay. So, okay, cool. The person who owns this land, so you see this big tract of land that's going down right here from 428 basically down to this outer loop. That is Blue Star Land who owns that, which is the same people that built Star Trail. So that's Jerry Jones's development. Jones's. Jerry, did I just say Jones's? Or Jerry Jones development? Jerry Jones's? That didn't sound right out of my mouth. Okay. Who else owns land around here? Blue Star Land. Yeah, so he's bought up that. When did he buy that? Okay, so King's Place. Okay, I see what you're talking about. So this was closed, last sold on 2021, and they're talking about this right here. So that could become something. But yeah, I see who owns that land across the street from them. There's no information on that piece of land. Old Salina, which is a development group. That's the Methodist. When did they... I wonder when Jerry bought this piece of land. Okay, so they bought that in 2017. And then right next to that, a little bit further down is... Hold on, my MLS is now loading. Texas Republic Realty owns that piece of land. What else? What else we got here? Old Salina. Yeah, so there's going to be a good amount of developments going on in there. Northeast corner of Everett. Yeah, Dallas Park. That's where I'm looking. I'm not on Preston. No, you're looking at the wrong area. I'm confused. I don't think I'm looking at the wrong area because when I looked at the MLS, I can see the title and like see who owns the piece of land there, and it says King's Place LLC. So I think that's... Is that not right? It's not on Preston. I don't know why you're saying did I mention Preston? Preston's way over here. Preston's 289. So I'm over in this section. That's what showed King's Place on the MLS. Did I really answer Monticello? I think I'm saying that right. I haven't had anyone ask me about that neighborhood before. East side of Dallas Parkway, north of FM 420. Yeah, right here. This is right. Is this not? That's what it is right there. Yeah, I don't know what that's gonna be. To answer your question. Or I guess maybe. Yeah, I don't know what King's Place is. There's nothing really online about it. But that's who owns land there. Across the street is Blue Star Land, which is, like I said, that's Jerry Jones. That is the west side. Yeah, that's the west side. But when I go to the MLS, which is like the database, King's Place shows me that that's who owns it. Like this piece of land on the MLS. So they maybe they have a sign on the west side, and maybe they own that piece of land because that piece of land wasn't like popping up on who owned that. But on the east side, they also own that land as well. or at least that's what the MLS is telling me for who owns it. So I don't know what it's going to be. I'm going to guess it's probably going to be a development in there. Maybe not. I haven't really heard anything. It looks like it's for sale. Or maybe this is an old listing. Not too sure. Oh, here, that's kind of cool. When I just type in Kings Place, Salina, Texas, 2 of my videos pop up. So you have Uptown Salina Master Plan Community, and then new communities coming soon to Salina, Texas. Good to see the SCO is working in 2024. Strange, there is no info. They have road lights, etc. Not too sure. I don't know. I mean, I know that Uptown Salina is a huge development coming up just a little bit further of there, so maybe they're kind of doing something. I don't know. Anyone else have any other questions? Hopefully I answered Timu's question for Dree's custom homes. What are your views on astronauts? Yeah. I had someone else leave a comment that was like, if it's HOA, then pass. Well, brother, everything is in an HOA. And if it's not in an HOA, it's probably 1 acre lots, and they're going to be $1.5 million. Yeah, that's all the questions I have right now that came through that I can answer. Okay. Anyone else? We're getting to the point now where I don't know what else really to talk about. I guess I can mention... Is it easier to get a deal on existing home or new home? I think the best deals right now are happening with new construction on quick move-in inventory homes. I think that's the best deal you can kind of come across, unless you're looking at some homes that have been sitting on the market for a little bit longer and now the seller's offering a bunch of concessions or things like that, but there's probably something wrong with that house. Maybe you don't want to deal with it. Right now, if you can go for a new home, I'd go for a new home because you're probably going to get a better interest rate. However, there are some builders and some other mortgage companies that are pretty competitive with what builders are offering too. So, you know, depending on that builder's lender and what they're offering, and then what you can kind of go look at on the market. I've seen some families go do their own research, find their own thing, great. And then I have some other families that end up doing the research and then just end up going with the builder. But I think the best deals are happening with like inventory move-in ready homes right now. Yes, there are probably some better deals with pre-owned stuff that's been sitting on the market for long. But then again, there's probably something going on with that house and reasons for that. Not saying like everything's just jumping off the shelves right now, but if you can go for new construction, I'd go for new construction at the end of the day because you're going to have all those warranties with the house as well. Are there any specific areas you're looking at, Catherine? Like over in the Salina area? One sec, be right back. Okay, so pricing is key, possibly Prosper or Salina. What's your pricing looking like? And what's kind of the price range you're looking at? Because I'm sure there's some other people that are going to watch this video later that probably have the same kind of search that you're having. So can throw out some ideas for you. And then I have some families that they don't even want to... Like, they don't even want to build from scratch. Like, they just rather do an inventory home. I don't know. It's kind of funny. Like, you have some people that come in, they're like, I want to pick everything. I don't want anyone to choose for me. And then I have other families that come in and they're like, Yeah, I don't want to deal with all the heartache and headaches of building a new construction from scratch and dealing with that whole process. I'd rather have something that's like 2 to 3 months out. So it's kind of just, it's funny to hear two sides of people kind of wanting different things, but also looking in the same areas, but just different types of buyers, right? Okay, so Catherine, here, now I could tell you, I used to be like, okay, well, you could probably get something in Salina for like $400,000, $500,000 if you go a little bit more south, or $600,000 if you're looking for a town, or like $400,000 if you're looking for a new construction townhome or something like that. Right now, okay, I think for the price point and the value, the size of the, I think also to keep in mind is like the size of the lot too, if you're wanting to put money into something. So have you heard the neighborhood North Sky by chance, with Perry Homes and American Legend building on 65-foot lots? I have done a video over that neighborhood. Okay, so you're also saying you want to buy a smaller home. Now, I would say a smaller home's fine. However, I wouldn't go for like a 40-foot lot. I'd go for something that's at least 55 plus at the end of the day. There is a neighbor, and I have it on my playlist under Salina. There is a neighborhood called North Sky. And let me just pull up this right now. We'll look at American Legend. Taylor Morrison is also building in here, but I don't really care about Taylor Morrison. If you guys have watched my videos long enough, you kind of know my opinion on Taylor Morrison. They're kind of just, they're not the worst, but they're going to be on the higher end of the lower end, if that kind of makes sense, when you start bringing in people like Pulte, D.R. Horton, Syntex, Pace Setter, First Texas Homes, things like that. Okay. This neighborhood here, and I'll show you where this is located, I think this would be a great starting point for you to look at, because they're doing 65-foot lots, and these 65-foot lots are starting at, like, you can get this one, a plan 1523 at $564,000 on a 65-foot lot. Something like this right now, I literally just closed on a house today over in Prosper ISD and Star Trail that is maybe a little bit bigger than this, but also on a 65-foot lot, which is where you start seeing those differences in prices once they go from 40 to 50s to 60s. But this 65-foot lot is going to kind of give you that bigger range in that backyard, which is going to provide that value over long term. I'll say right now, the number one thing that I'm hearing from buyers and what they're complaining about, and I've said this before in my other live streams, is the backyard space. Okay, I've had some families rather go for a pre-owned home that's like a 2009 over in Prosper with a big old backyard, rather than doing new construction where you're kind of put right onto the back side of your neighbor. Now, this neighborhood is going to be building like right behind you, in the sense that they're not going to have alleyways. I think maybe the Taylor Morrison 40-foot lots might have alleyways, but you're still going to be kind of backed up. But if you're looking at new construction, this neighborhood is the one I'd look at right now for where these price points are. I think these are really reasonable. Like, probably in a year from now, it's going to change. Things are going to kind of be different. But right now, at the beginning of this community, where they're probably going to be offering the best incentives right now, I think this one would be a good one to kind of start with. This is located, I wonder if this is even popping up on, let's see. No, it's not even popping up. So where this is located right now is up along, okay, so you have Salina High School here, sorry. Here's the other thing with this neighborhood. Salina High School is across the street, and then you have the middle school and the elementary school that are also right down the street. This is where the neighborhood is getting built right now, and then it's gonna have, in 5 years from now, probably 5 to 8 years, this is where the Dallas Parkway is running up, which is going to be a clear shot to this neighborhood. So the thing that happened with Frisco, why it got so crazy and so big, is because the Dallas North Tollway went through it. I expect the same, and you can see that happening with Prosper right now. Salina, I don't know if the school district will ever be good as Prosper, because it really seems like Prosper is putting a lot of, or they're trying to put a lot of money into their school infrastructure. I think Salina will also see kind of what Prosper does, and they'll kind of play off that. The really cool thing about Salina is that they can see how Frisco developed and Prosper developed, and they can kind of use the things that were bad about that experience of maybe how they developed those cities, and then they can take out the good, and then they can apply that to Salina. So Salina could be, in the future, a little bit better set up on how the city is, because like even their downtown area, Uptown Salina, they have the ability right now to be able to go in and like really recreate that place and create something cool around there, rather than like Frisco and Prosper, where those areas have kind of been built out and now they're going back in and they're kind of having to redo things. Like Frisco just announced recently, they actually just broke ground, Frisco downtown master plan. Let me look at the news. Yeah, so this was 5 days ago. So City of Frisco breaks ground on redevelopment project in historic downtown. And that's kind of what's happening with Frisco, right? Salina is kind of just like seeing how everything plays out. I think they're taking in a bunch of ideas. They're going to go with something, but they have the ability to kind of do things from scratch, rather than like Frisco, where everything's kind of been built out and now they're kind of going back in and redoing some things just because, this up in Salina, there just wasn't much else there but like the square, rather than Frisco, where it's kind of, you have one area where it's really old part of Frisco, like the historic district, the rail district, and then on the west side it's more of like where the Toyota Stadium is, the square where the new public library is and all those things. So I think Salina is going to be an area where they can kind of look at these other cities and what they did wrong or what they did right, and then apply that to their city too. But yeah, they just broke ground on the redevelopment here. They're going to be doing a whole bunch of stuff. Back to my point about this. American Legend right now, I think, is building some of the most solid homes as well. Highland is great. Perry is great. Those builders are great. Yes. Is there someone probably watching my video right now that had a terrible experience with American Legend? Sure. A terrible experience with Highland Homes? Sure. I'm sure at the end of the day, someone is having a bad experience even with the most highly rated, reputable builders. But I think in general, American Legend, when it comes to the inspection reports and things like that, like they're building a pretty solid house. So this one would be one that I would look at if you're okay with putting a deposit down, letting that home build over the next 10 months, selling your piece of land, and then, putting money into that. So hopefully that helps, Catherine. Are you currently working with an agent? Because if you already got a deal going and you've been offered and you can take that, great. But I would like to help you on the other side of the deal as well, if you're not working with an agent right now. But I think that would be a good one to start with. I think that one's going to bring a lot of value later on in the future just because of where its location is. Okay, no agent. Okay, well, here's my... if you don't want to text me, here is my email. And I can keep you updated with... here's my phone number too. I can just keep you updated too with new things that get released. I'm guessing you probably have looked at the parks at Wilson Creek because that's a really popular neighborhood. I think if you can get into that neighborhood on like one of those 60-foot lots, below $1 million, I think that could also be sitting pretty good, because I think that neighborhood is going to be set up kind of how like Mustang Lakes and the value of those homes. But that's going to be later on in the future, and that's going to just take some time. I think after 2025 is where you're going to see more of that value come from, rather than some other things, just because rather than quicker, because you're just gonna have to wait on the new 100-acre Salina Park to get built in there. You're gonna have to wait for the on-site school district to get built in there, but you should want to buy before those things go in. So if North Sky doesn't work for you and you think that's a little bit too far, look at parks at Wilson Creek. I think that could be another area and be set up and bring the same value that we saw, or that's currently happening within Mustang Lakes. Because I've talked with some of those builders in there. They're going to bring 74-foot lots, or at least that's the plan. The only thing with Parks at Wilson Creek is you'll probably be giving up, let's see, those prices are, yeah, I mean, the difference between Parks at Wilson Creek and those American Legend homes on the starting price for like a 6, and that's the other thing. Parks at Wilson Creek is only having 60-foot lots right now, and you're probably paying an extra 200, or I don't say extra, but you're paying probably a premium of like $150,000 to $200,000 more, rather than North Sky, which is just 5 more minutes north. It's right by downtown Salina, right off Preston Road. It's going to actually be closer to the Dallas North Tollway than that of the Parks in Wilson Creek. However, the Parks at Wilson Creek is built off the Collin County Outer Loop, so that's going to bring some value later on in the future, just for commuters trying to get out to those like South Frisco, Northwest Plano areas. Offer came out of Douglas Elliman in Los Angeles. Their client looking to do a 1030 exchange. Oh, cool. Well, if you want any representation on that deal, shoot me a text. I'd love to work with you and then help you save some money on the closing cost as well with the new construction home. All right. Anyone else have questions? Oh, here we go. We got actually Jhog G83. Can you review Sonoma Verde? See, guys, if you've been watching my videos long enough, you know I cannot pronounce things right. Okay, so can you review Sonoma Verde neighborhood with Highland Homes, Chesterfield? Okay, let's look at the Chesterfield plan. I always love reviewing Highland Homes. Okay, so let's just pull this up on the map so that people can see this area that I'm talking about. Now we're headed over to, yes. Okay, so this is more of like Heath, Texas, Rockwall, those areas. And I will once again reiterate this. If you are looking in the Rockwall, Heath area, you're going a little bit further out here. I have just heard chatter of people saying that they have just regretted living out there, or they just don't like it as much, or they didn't realize how rural it is or how rural it's gonna be. I don't see a lot, like when I look at my feed of things getting announced and released out into the world with new developments, I see a lot more things happening north of 380 up in McKinney, Salina, Prosper, even all the way up into Lake Texoma on the border of Oklahoma, rather than over on this east side of Dallas. Now, these areas are fairly close, just a little bit closer to downtown Dallas, but you're going to be right in that same price range. However, you are going to have a cheaper tax rate. So you're going to find tax rates up in Frisco, Salina, right? Frisco might be at like that 1.8, 1.9, 2%, and then you start getting up into Prosper and Prosper and Salina, and those are more at like 2.0 to 2.3 to 2.9. Well, Rockwall, those areas, Heath, Texas, some of those are like 1.5, 1.6, 1.7. They're a little bit cheaper over on that side of things. You're going to get about the same price point, but that tax you pay at the end of the year is going to be a little bit cheaper on you. But I think at that point you're having to weigh, okay, how much value is going to be brought to my, like how much equity am I going to gain between a Rockwall home and a Salina home? And I think right now, and I can't tell you, at the end of the day, I can't sit here and be like, this one's better than the other. This one is getting like, can't give you a hard answer on that. What I can say is I follow the trends, and right now what the trends show me where the value is right now Prosper, McKinney, Salina, those areas is where the value is in long term. Okay. But yeah, this is Sonoma Verde, and I have done a neighborhood tour on this. I did a walkthrough over at Perry Home, but let's look at this Chesterfield. Okay, so let's look at this. Is this a Chesterfield? Are these all Chesterfields? I'm confused. I typed in Chesterfield. These are all Chesterfield plans that are quick move-ins. This doesn't make a lot of sense to me. This is interesting. Oh, these are in different areas. So this is Waxahachie. Okay, that's not. Let me go back. That's why I was confused. I love how I spelled Chesterfield. I spelled that completely wrong. Let's do Sonoma Verde. This is on the 70-foot lots. See if we can find. Okay, here we go. 70-foot lot, Chesterfield. Okay, so we're paying $583,000, which I'm gonna guess that these lot premiums are probably somewhere around 30 to 60K, maybe 15K. Unless it's south facing, it could be a zero, but I'm gonna guess you're probably spending around 20 to 50K on this lot premium, depending on where it's at. Would be my guess, unless they're having a really hard time selling these homes. Maybe it's a little bit cheaper. All right, let's walk through this. So this is a 70-foot lot. This is a lot smaller, but that kind of makes sense where that price point is at. I'm going to guess probably if you're at 583, you're probably going to be more in that 720, 700K range. You could probably get away with 650, but you'd have to have a really cheap lot premium. You'd have to spend nothing at the design center. Maybe you can get a little bit closer to that 630 number, but usually I'm seeing people spend on a 70-foot lot, like your flooring could easily, I mean, if you want to do a hardwood floor, like a level 3 within there, it could easily cost like $25,000 to $30,000 just for like hardwood floor. That could be a thing. So I would say you're probably more in that 700K mark. Let's look at this floor plan. So 2-car garage. A 2-car garage for a 70-foot lot doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. I'd really like to see that be at least a 3-car garage. Study in the front, 3 bedrooms off to the side, 1 bathroom, dining room over, kitchen, family room, primary suite. I don't really like this floor plan. Uh-oh. Not the biggest fan of this floor. Okay, let's see what other floor plans we can find, because I'm not really a fan of the Chesterfield. All right, so that's at 583. So let's just compare with these other ones here that are about the same range. Okay, so this Chesterfield was at 583. Let's look at some of these other ones in here. Dining room, primary, bedroom, study. See, this is a 3-car tandem. I think that already is providing. I think the Canterbury is less. Now, you could add another. Could you add a 3rd-car garage onto that Chesterfield one? Let's see, flex, powder. No, you can't. So yeah, so right there off the bat, I already think the Canterbury is going to provide more value if you have a 3-car garage tandem. Now, you probably could get rid of that tandem. Let's see, can you? No. Sorry, I'm just clicking around here. Yeah, so how do you think this is a better floor plan? And it's cheaper. All right, let's go to the next one. This one's $584, so this is $1,000 more, which bedroom, lifestyle, study in the front, have a nice porch area. It's going to have a little bit better curb appeal. Primary bathroom isn't terrible. I think I like this floor plan even more. Okay, so Fleetwood is above. All right, so right now how I would rank these is Chesterfield's at the bottom, Canterbury's next, Fleetwood's next, then this one is at 587, so this one's the most expensive, but let's see how this is set up. 2-car garage again. But will they add a 3rd-car garage? Because that would kind of change how I... Okay, so you can add a 3rd car for 20K. All right, so then it's 20K to add a 3rd-car garage, but then you're telling me this Canterbury already comes with the 3rd-car garage and you're spending $4,000 less on the starting. Now, you are going to get less beds. I understand the Chesterfield is probably going to give you 5 beds. Yeah, so you're going to get 5 beds in the Chesterfield, but I would say at the end of the day, a 4-bed is what you're wanting to probably go with for that value. I think, is there a reason you weren't looking at the Canterbury? Hopefully I'm saying that right. Canterbury or something. I don't know. Something like that. All right, next week I'm getting some emails coming in. I just want to give you guys a heads up that are watching my videos over this next week. So I will be coming out with a update on Fields of Frisco. I did a driving tour. They've opened up a lot of roads around there. I'll also be doing a video on an update on Windsong Ranch, Union Park, and then from there just leave I don't know, it'd really help me if you guys left, some type of comment or something later on in the future on any of my other videos where you want me to review other neighborhoods. Okay, cool. Yeah. Canterbury. Dude, and you know what? J Hog G83. I just there's so many different names. I can't, for me to do all this research, I'd have to be calling so many builders, so many people, so many things. I don't have every client ask me about every single build. So I have people that leave comments on my videos and like, you're pronouncing this wrong, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, you obviously don't watch enough of my videos because I have reflected and I know I can't get everything perfect. Yeah, I would look at this plan. I think this plan might be a little bit better. And I like this elevation with the curved windows, even though I'm not... One part of me is like, I like the curved windows. I kind of like that appeal. But then the other part of it is the curved windows are going to cost more money in 20 years from now when you go to replace those windows on that home, or 15 years or 10 years. I would say if your windows don't last 10 years, it's probably another problem. But I would say probably around here with the Texas heat, depending on what part of the house gets hit the most with sun, those windows will definitely go out quicker. And also, okay, here's just another disclaimer. If you are doing black framed windows, okay, what does the color black do with sun and light? Okay, it absorbs more heat. The color black absorbs more heat. So in turn, that could then lead to a window that just doesn't have a longer life or starts, malfunctioning or, breaking. Let's just use that word. So I think you will get a better longevity out of the white frame windows. However, I think your home might be a little bit more efficient on the inside for some time, as the black frame windows will absorb more heat to them and not put as much into the room. However, I don't know how long those will last compared to the white frame windows. But that's kind of just the thinking I have sometimes on these things, because I do have families that come in and they see kind of, they just think about being in the house maybe for 5 years. They don't really think past that. But, some of these people will live in the house for 20 plus years, and you could be saving some money setting the house up correctly or buying a house where it has, a little bit of differences here and there. If you are thinking 15 or 20 years out. I don't know. These are just some of the things I kind of have just noticed over some of the homes that are older and some of them that are newer. That's why I like Perry Homes. They do make it simple. It's just, what's the square footage? That's the name of the plan. I really like how Perry Homes keeps it simple. So you are not wrong. Did I talk about this other one? Yeah, the Eastbourne plan, that one's trash. Okay. I think this one has some good value to it. I don't know. I'd look at this one. I like how this outdoor living is set up. I wish the outdoor living was just extended a little bit more, but at the end of the day, you can't really pick everything. Bathroom space is going to be a little bit small. Primary suite looks decent. You aren't going to get a shower. I would definitely do the shower. Yeah, I do. Do I want to do? Oh, so can you not pick a shower in a tub? You can only do one or the other? Oh, no. Yeah, this is what I would do. I'd do that. I do primary bath, drop-in tub with shower. That's what I would do. Yeah. JHog83, are you working with an agent right now? course. Of course, my guy. Or my girl. I don't know. I'm just assuming gender here. I shouldn't be doing that. Bad, Daniel. Bad. Well, yeah, hey, I'd love to help you out. I mean, if you're watching my videos and stuff and checking out some of my things, I am a licensed real estate agent, so. Okay, perfect. I have left my information on the chat, so feel free to shoot me a text. Even if you don't want to work with me, you just have questions, feel free to shoot me a chat or a text. I will, text back and answer some things. Now, I'm not going to continue I have some people, it's funny. I have some people that come in, they'll ask me a question, I'll answer it real quick. But if you already have an agent, you're already working with someone, don't keep coming back to me and ask me, like, go work with that person or go do your own research. I just have people that come in and I'm like, okay, at this point, like I can't just be answering everything because I have actual people I'm working with. So, but feel free to shoot me just a text here and there if you have a quick question about something pretty simple. Okay, so Sandy says, hi, Daniel. Could you please tell me which city is good, Salina, Rockwall, in terms of growth? Okay, so maybe, is this your first time joining a live stream? Because I know there's going to be other people that have been watching all my live streams and they're going to come back and they just, I don't know. There's a part of me that's like, I don't want to repeat myself every live stream and talk about these things, but I do have the same questions that come in. I have new people and I want to make sure I get things answered. But I already know there's some people rolling their eyes at this question because I've had this so many times and I have talked about it. I think if you care more about your monthly payment and you're trying to get a bigger house, right? I see people go towards Rockwall because you're not going to pay a lot of MUDs. You're not going to pay that PID tax. You're going to have lower tax rates. You're going to have the same type of builders out there. It's not like Anna, Texas, where Anna, Texas is like, okay, you're going to get a cheaper price point. You could get a bigger home, but the builders in there just aren't as quality. And I would put like Anna, Texas right there with Rockwall. Maybe Rockwall is a little bit more developed out, but like in the sense of kind of rural land and new developments going on there, they're kind of the same. Same thing with Salina. Salina, you are going to get that higher tax rate. You are probably going to be paying for a PID, a MUD, some things like that. But I think those make up for it long term. MUDs don't last as long as PIDs. PIDs will last like 30 years. MUDs could last half that time, or to the point where the whole community is just done being built out and it's completed, but PIDs will last a little bit longer. How I see things is I like to follow where big money is going, and it seems right now big money is going up between the Dallas North Tollway and 75 Highway north of 380. So I think if you're investing in land, commercial, houses, I think if you can be somewhere in that general area of 380 and Dallas North Tollway and 75 Highway, I think long term, that's where the future growth is going to be. Now, disclaimer, I could be completely wrong, right? At the end of the day, they could end up putting a landfill in the middle of Weston, Texas, and then all of a sudden values start changing up. So I don't know. I just go off what the data shows me right in this moment. I don't have a crystal ball. I don't know the future. I have lived out here my whole entire life, so I can kind of see how things develop and where people go towards and where things go to die. Like if you're going to put a business, like if you came to me and you're like, hey, Daniel, I'm looking to put a fast food business somewhere in Frisco, Little Elm, the Colony, Louisville, somewhere in that general area, I would tell you to not put your fast food restaurant on 423 in the Colony, because that's where businesses go to die. The amount of different businesses I've seen on 423 in the Colony is just outrageous. I would tell you to go up to 380 and 423 and things like that. So I just have seen things developed. Now, South Dallas, I've been around those areas. I don't do a lot of real estate South Dallas. I like to keep more of my stuff on the north side of the Dallas, whether it be like Northeast Dallas, Northwest Dallas, South Lake, Rockwall. I try to stay up north of that Dallas kind of. If you just drew like a straight line east to west across Dallas, out to Fort Worth and out further towards Kaufman County in those areas, and then go north, that's usually where I like keeping my real estate, just because I live up in these areas and I Also, don't want to get too far out of my reach because I also want to provide value to my clients. And I think if I have clients that come in and ask me questions about Waxahachie, I think at the end of the day, I'm not really doing the best. I don't really have the best. I know those areas, but I'm just not so tapped into that market that if somebody was asking me like, hey, I have a home for sale in Waxahachie, can you help me out with that? I'd probably end up referring you to someone else because I just wouldn't feel comfortable doing business like that. But if you're like north of that Dallas area, I'm all over it. I'm living in it. I don't have to literally, guys, I'm living in real estate. There's nothing. I have no other responsibility. I have no kids. I don't have to take anyone to soccer practice. I'm just focused on real estate, which is, a really good reason why I did real estate is because like right now I do have responsibility. I have bills, but there's another part of me where it's like right now is the moment to kind of take a chance on myself because it's like I don't have any kids. I don't have like nothing's holding me back besides really myself. At the end of the day, right? Did that kind of answer your question, Sandy? I don't know if you're in the chat still, but yeah, I think the closer you can be to Frisco, Texas, I think that's where the value is going to be. I think what Prosper and Salina will be is what Highland Park and University Park is to downtown Dallas, if that kind of makes sense. We got 4 people watching right now. You guys have any other questions? Or are you guys just like listening to me talk nonsense? Anyone else have questions? We have been doing this for an hour, so that's usually when I end the live stream. I will leave it up. The next 30 seconds, anyone else have questions? I'll also say the live streams on Wednesdays have been a little less lit than the live streams on Sundays. So hopefully the Wednesdays start ramping up. How's your review about Liliana community? Well, I think Liliana is great. It's now zoned for Walnut Grove. I actually have a house currently under contract right now that'll be closing at the end of this month on Liliana. But I think Liliana is a great neighborhood. You have an on-site elementary school. They recently have some homes under Prosper and now some are in Salina. Okay, so the thing with that is that, yes, when you go to Liliana, you are going to be paying the tax of Salina, but you are going to be zoned for Prosper ISD. So I think in general, living in Salina, I think that tax rate's at like 2.01 or 2.1%. I can't remember off the top of my head, but somewhere in that range. You are going to be paying the cheapest tax with a Salina address. Most of the other Salina addresses are going to be 2.4, 2.9, 2.7. You're going to be a little bit higher unless you go further north out to the basically outskirts of the city where the 1 acre lots are with no HOAs. Then you're going to be at like a 1.7%. But then you're so far out there, you're probably not looking in that price range of like $1.5 million to $2 million. So now you're thrown back into the communities that have the muds, the PIDs, and those things like that. Do you think that's the Salina, which are under Prosper, will be converted to Salina ISD in the future? Okay, I have lived out here my whole life. Okay, I went to Frisco ISD as a kid. I have never seen, and maybe I'm wrong here. Okay, so if somebody else knows better than me, please let me know. I have never seen a school district change hands between cities, meaning if you are in Salina, Texas, and you are zoned for Prosper ISD, I have never seen all of a sudden now you're zoned for Salina ISD. Okay? What will happen in some of these communities, like you see over in the Harvest over in Argyle, is you will have part of the Harvest zoned for Argyle ISD, and you will have another part of the Harvest zoned for Northwest ISD. Okay, but that's already set. Okay, because there's already parameters, there's areas, things are already zoned off. What will happen, okay, is that in Liliana, it's zoned for Walnut Grove. What could happen is they are bringing another high school along Custer Road over on the east side of Prosper, which will be later on in the future. That could end up changing the zoning from Walnut Grove back to Prosper High School or over to the new high school. So that could happen. But I don't see a situation where you're living in a Prosper ISD zone school and then they're zoning you for Salina ISD in 5 years. Unless something nuclear happened. But once again, I could be totally wrong, but I have lived in Frisco my whole life. I've lived in these areas. I've seen how the school districts worked. Back when I was going through Frisco ISD, the only thing that happened was I'd end up going to a new middle school because one would get built. But other than that, like I was the first 7th grader to go to Cobb Middle School. So if anyone's watching this live stream and knows anything about Teal and Main Street, as a kid I went to Fisher Elementary. I then went to 1 year at Griffin Middle School. I went 2 years into Cobb Middle School and actually got to vote. Back when I was in middle school, I got to vote on the mascot. It was the let's see if I can remember this. I remember being in 6th grade and being at an assembly, and they had the new principal come, or maybe it was our principal or something. I can't. I'm a little bit foggy here. I'm getting old now with my age, right? Right, guys? I'm getting old, so I can't quite remember. But I think I remember it going this way, where they put up a presentation, and we went to this link, and we, the students, and I think also the parents, got to vote on what the mascot was going to be. And I think it was the Cobb Cyclones, the Cobb Cornhuskers, Cobb Cobras, and maybe there was another one. But I voted Cyclones, and that's what we ended up being. And then we got to vote on our colors too, it ended up being blue and orange. But that's usually what I see. I see things change hands like that. I don't see like whole school districts changing. The other thing that happens is when a new high school gets implemented, usually only it's starting with like 9th and 10th graders. Usually the 11th and 12th graders don't come in till like that next year when those 10th graders move to 11th grade. They usually keep half of the high school kind of shut off in essence, or in a sense. And then later on over the next 4 years is when like the whole school kind of actually gets filled up. Okay, so, but initially they said that all Liliana will be in Prosper, but recently they changed it to Salina. Yeah, so I think they changed it to Salina because that's where the border of Salina is, up along, is that Frontier Parkway? Do I have that right? I think it's not Prosper Trail. Prosper Trail is Whispering Farm, or not Whispering, yeah, Whispering Farm is on 1st Street. And then it's Prosper Trail. And then I might be getting it backwards. But yeah. Even though it's zoned for, ask all the people that live in Little Elm that are zoned for Frisco ISD, or all the people that live in McKinney that are zoned for Prosper ISD. So yes, I think the zoning of the city could change potentially. I mean, I would imagine now, here's the other thing, is everything's kind of built out. I think beforehand, there was so many new developments going in these areas that they just didn't know how to kind of move things and border things around. But I think that now there's more things built up along there and more people living in there. I think they're going to be more kind of just like stuck in it and not really change things around. I think when cities are developing kind of where Prosper and Salina is, I think there's a lot of opportunity to still kind of change things around. But kind of how I think where it sits when it comes to school districts is... I don't think they're going to change school districts on you. Like I said, I could be completely wrong, but I have never heard of anything like that. Also, do you think it's worth to buy home with a pit at $45,000 in Liliana? I'm referring to 60-foot lots under Phase 5. So, I think... yes, but I also think it depends on what size lot you're buying. I think the most value with lots is going to be anything over 60 foot. I think if you're buying a 50-foot lot or a 50-foot lot or a 55-foot lot or a 40-foot lot, I think you're not going to get as much value out of that house rather than like the 60-foot up. But yeah, I think it might be worth... I mean, it all depends on like what matter. Like when people ask me like, do you think it's worth to buy a home within this area? I think it also depends on like all the other factors that go into what you're wanting in a home. So I mean, like people coming in and just asking me like, is it worth buying a home with a pit at $45,000? I mean, there's so many other things that go into that. I don't think it's that cut and dry with just saying a 60-foot lot under phase 5. I think there's a lot of other things that go into, like, do you care more about backyard? Do you care more about bedrooms? Do you care more about kitchen space? Do you care more about upgrades and the builder and the build quality? You know, because there's a difference in the build quality between an American Legend home that's in a pre-owned and a new MI home. Okay, because the MI homes are going to be like a little bit on the cheaper end. Now, you're going to walk in there and the sales agent's going to be like, we're a luxury builder. But like, I don't know. I've just seen how you build the house, and it's just not like how they build the house in some instances. Or at least when it comes back to kind of how the home feels on the inside. So, I just, you know. Anyways, I digress. Okay. I think that's good where I'm going to end it. We're at like an hour and 10 minutes. So are we feeling good about this? I think we got some things accomplished today, hopefully. If you're coming back to this video after it's been posted, please leave a comment down below. Shout out to anyone that came in and watched the video or watched the live stream today. Thank you guys so much. Yeah, MI homes? I don't know, man. I don't know. MI homes, it's interesting. They're going to be on the cheaper side of things. So at that point, like, people in my opinion, the people that are going with MI homes in Liliana are okay with compromising on build quality, but they care more about the lot size and where the home's zoned for and all the amenities with inside the home. So I think it's kind of just how do you kind of balance those two things, and what do you see that's most important. So that's kind of it. All right. I will see you guys. Hold on. Let me just check my calendar for next one. I think next Wednesday will be fine. Pretty sure. Yes, I do have some stuff during the day, but later on at 5 p.m., that's when I'll go live. 5 p.m. Central every Wednesday. Tell your dog, tell your mom. That's when we're doing live streams now. I've done this a couple weeks. I know I was doing them Sundays. I've changed it to Wednesdays. Wednesdays are a lot easier for me because now my weekends are just starting to get filled up with meetings. It also being summertime and people coming out here and visiting the area. Wednesdays are just a lot easier for me. So Wednesdays is when we'll keep live streams going at 5 p.m. Central, or at least somewhere around that time. So I will see you guys next week, hopefully. I think I will. Bye-bye.